According to history, giants are mythological creatures with a human appearance, but much larger in size and strength than we are. And although skeletons and giant footprints have been found around the world, science still doesn't fully believe in their existence. However, currently, we can find people who are considered giants, either because they suffer from gigantism or because their genes decided so. Would you like to meet the tallest man or the tallest woman? Get ready, because in this video you will meet people who have broken all records. Look up and meet the real-life giants. And for some extra fun, find our mascot Ned hiding throughout the video. Yao Defen. The height of human beings is determined by three important factors: genes, food, and the environment. So if you're a tall person, chances are that your parents are tall too. But in the case of the Chinese citizen Yao Defen, her exaggerated stature was due to a tumor in her pituitary gland that caused her gigantism. In January 2010, Yao was named the tallest woman in the world by the Guinness Book of Records, with a striking height of 7 feet 8 inches. Would you like to be that big? Think twice, because Yao Defen claims to feel very unhappy due to her height and by the way people look at her. Shaquille O'Neal. Known to many as Shaq Attack, this 48-year-old former African-American basketball player conquered the world of basketball with his talent, as he managed to win the NBA championship on several occasions and with different teams, as well as the gold medal in the Olympic Games on 1996 with the selection of the United States. Despite all his achievements as an athlete, one of the things that make him most recognized in the world is his height. Because according to records, Shaquille O'Neal measures 7.1 feet. The average height of a man in the United States is 5.8. Shaq exceeds it by 40 centimeters. That guy next to him is 6.4 feet tall and looks tiny. Isn't that awesome? Sandy Allen. This American-born in the state of Indiana held the record for the highest woman in the world in the Guinness Book of Records for 16 years of her life. This because her height was 7.7 feet. Thanks to the notoriety that gave her the height, Sandy was able to write a book called Throwing a Giant Shadow and act in various films for television and cinema. However, Sandy's life was not full of glamour and fame, because given her gigantic condition, she had to endure a life of poor health and physical pain. So she was forced to spend the last days of her life in a home for the elderly. Sandy Allen passed away on 2008 at just 53 years old. Joseph Edouard Beaupre. 1881. Joseph was a completely normal boy, until at the age of 3 when he began to grow abnormally. When he was 9 years old, he was already taller than his parents, and at 17, he managed to lift an 800-pound horse. He tried to become a cowboy, but being so tall, his feet touched the ground even on top of his horse, so he had to abandon that dream. Like many giants of the time, Joseph worked in various circuses and fairs. At that time, he already measured over 8 feet and was presented as the tallest man in the world. But Joseph Edouard Beaupre had a short life due to complications caused by tuberculosis. He passed away at the age of 23 in 1904. The saddest thing in this story is that his body was never claimed. Instead, he was embalmed and exhibited for several decades in circuses and museums. Patrick Cotter O'Brien. Before working in show business, in 1780s, Patrick Cotter worked as a bricklayer, a job that took advantage of his height, as he didn't need to use a ladder during construction. He just needed to raise his arm and put the bricks in place. As a curious fact, Patrick was the first member of the exclusive group of people who measured more than 8 feet tall. The circus he later worked for had to build him a special carriage where he could be transported between performances. Have you ever tried to sit on a bus only to find that your feet don't fit? Or that when you stand you should lower your head and even your back? No? Well, That was a problem Patrick surely suffered from. Giant baby. Can you imagine having to carry a baby over 8 feet long? Well, don't worry, because this baby doesn't need it. This sculpture of a giant baby is the works of hyper-realistic sculptor John Muick. And although his career as an artist began with photography, in the early 90s, he wanted his work to have a physical presence. So he began to create sculptures with fiberglass resin. No doubt his talent is incredible, but his creations are very good nightmare material. Anna Haining Bates. Have you heard those fantastic tales of giants living in extremely large houses with roofs that could touch the clouds? Well, the story of this woman from the province of Nova Scotia, Canada, will make you remember those stories. From the age of 16, Anna went to work in a circus, where she was exhibited with a dwarf and was proclaimed the tallest woman in the world, with an impressive height of few inches shy of 8 feet. Incredible as it may seem, in 1871, she met another giant named Martin Van Buren Bates. After getting married, they worked in circuses and were known as the world's largest married couple. The most curious thing about this couple is that they had to build a house with 14 feet high ceilings, almost double the height of a normal house. That's really giant. Arthur Caley. Born in Isle of Man in the Irish Sea, he was known at exhibitions in Manchester, London, and Paris as the Giant of Manx. Arthur, born in 1824, was a man around 8 feet tall. However, unlike other giants that existed, he was not thin, but his body also increased in width, weighing almost 400 pounds. Surely he couldn't find many clothes his size. Arthur Caley disappeared from stage without a trace, and although his mother confirmed that he was dead and buried, many people claimed that this was a lie, because just a few days prior, he had bought life insurance for 2,000 sterling pounds. The truth was only known after his death in 1889. Arthur had traveled to the United States to join a circus, where he was known as Colonel Ruth Gosham, the Arab giant. The skeletons of Catalina Island. Santa Catalina Island, southwest of Los Angeles in the United States, is known for having diverse wildlife, its exclusive dive sites, and Mount Orizaba, the highest peak of the island. But between 1919 and 1928, it was also known for being the Tomb of Giants. Because according to archaeologist Ralph Glyden, thousands of human skeletons measuring between 7 to almost 9 feet tall could be found there. That was a fascinating find. However, several experts claim that this was just a farce invented by Ralph to earn easy money. Despite this, history does not rule those findings, since during the following years, more giant skeletons were found in the state of California and Mexico. Oliver, the Dutch giant Richters. Born in 1989, ever since Oliver was a baby, his parents knew that their son was going to be great. He couldn't even fit in the hospital incubator. As a teenager, when the children began to stretch and gain weight, Oliver was already more than 6.5 feet tall. And although he assures he had never suffered from bullying, he said that he felt like a walking skeleton, and it took him a long time to accept himself for who he is. The most impressive thing about the Dutch giant is that he decided to become a bodybuilder, so he has a strict exercise routine and a diet in which he must consume 6,400 calories a day. Keeping those muscles could not be cheap. Elisany da Cruz Silva. This 24-year-old Brazilian model is considered one of the tallest women alive in the world, being almost 7 feet tall. As a teenager, her height prevented her from going to school because she couldn't fit on the school bus. The reason for her height was due to a tumor in her endocrine gland without any side effects. The cool part is her gigantism has not prevented her from living her life and finding love. Her husband, Francinaldo da Silva Carvalho, about a foot shorter than Elisany, affirms that when he's with her, he feels very relaxed and he does not care what people say. Elisany lives in Salinopolis, Brazil, and says that the only thing that bothers her about her height is that when she goes out with her husband, they think that he's her little brother or her son. Without a doubt, love knows no shape or size. Giant footprints. Many mythologies and religions have spoken about the giants that used to walk on Earth, but not many times you can see with your own eyes the proof of their existence. In 1912, a hunter named Stoffel Coetzee found a footprint in granite about 4 feet long in South Africa. The footprint is estimated to be between 200 million and 3 trillion years old, although for some scientists it's just a form caused by soil erosion. Science has yet to explain its origin, making it very likely the ultimate proof that the giants walked with us millions of years ago. Robert Wadlow. If you're a person who is more than 6 feet tall and are tired of jokes about your height, imagine the patience that Robert Wadlow must have had. At almost 9 feet tall, Wadlow is considered the tallest human ever to exist. The Alton Giant, as he was known to many, became something of a celebrity thanks to his stature. People who knew him claimed that Robert was an extremely introverted, quiet, and friendly person, so they also referred to him as the Friendly Giant. Proof of this was his funeral, where nearly more than 40,000 people gathered to say goodbye to him on July 17, 1940. Robert was, in every way, a great person. Definitely, height is a very important characteristic in the human being and helps to define the way we live, how we relate to others, and the health of our body. And as you could see, the life of a real giant, although full of fame and recognition, is not easy at all. What would you do if you suffer from gigantism? Would you join the circus or learn to play basketball? Thank you for joining me during this video. I hope to see you in the next. Remember to click the bell icon after you subscribe so you can get instant notifications of all our new videos.